sell with these dudes.
Our next game is called Buy or Sell. Hey, Hawk, if someone were to say Josh Allen and the Bills are the top threat to Kansas City in the AFC, would you buy or sell?
You know what? I'm buying it. And I haven't bought it in the past, but if you've watched the Buffalo Bills this season, you see a more balanced offense. You see a Josh Allen who has a lot more control over the operations of that offense. It's like they got rid of their number one guy, and he said, you know what, this is on me. Now, he didn't throw for a lot of yards against Miami, but again, in totality, you can very much see he has a command of this team and over this offense.
Well, let's go to Kansas City then. Dominique, if someone were to say...
Okay, before you ask the question about KC, with Buffalo, yeah, you got to think, in the AFC, the original teams that people considered was because of the Chiefs pretty much off of reputation, and they 2-0, but like off of reputation alone, not necessarily how they played these two games, right? If you just basing it off two games alone and nothing prior, you would just claim that they're not the best team in the AFC. Maybe somebody else is. But obviously, you know what I'm saying, they 2-0, and then they, you know what I'm saying, they the Chiefs. So they the consensus number one team in the AFC, let alone the whole league. Outside of the Chiefs, I think the Bills are like inarguably the second best team in the AFC. If we just talk about AFC, like, yeah. Hey, for sure, because I mean, for obvious reasons, right? Just off of how they played these two games. Plus, again, you know what I'm saying? Reputation alone, like they are meeting their reputation as opposed to the Ravens and the Bengals, and you feel me, who aren't. And then the Texans, like they could still, you never know, they could still be a 1-year wonder. You know what I'm saying? They had last season, they was great. And then they 2-0 this season, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's still, you still have to, like, if we're just going off of this season alone, plus, didn't they play the Colts in the first game? Yeah, I mean, the jury's still out on this dude. He might be garbage. And it might not be his fault. He like 22 years old now, right? Yeah, he's 22. It might not be his fault, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, like, that game he had against the Packers, against Malik Willis, like, he got completely outplayed by Malik Willis, who's a horrible football player. You know what I'm saying? But without dwelling on this too much, Josh Allen pretty much been the best performing quarterback in the AFC. I can't think of anybody else who's in that discussion with him in the AFC. Because, like, everybody in these two games alone, outside of Stroud, who hasn't had a bad game, he just hasn't had that good of a game. I don't think there's anybody that's really had. Let me see. No. Hell no. Obviously no. Hell no with all three of these teams. So the Bills are like inarguably number one team in the AFC right now. Just off the strength that, like I said, their quarterback hasn't had. All of these quarterbacks have pretty much had a bad game except Stroud, Herbert, except really just Stroud and Herbert. As far as the reputable quarterbacks, you know what I'm saying? Like, Aaron Rodgers wasn't even remotely impressive in his first game. And then the second game, he was like slightly better. Herbert, what's Herbert been on? I don't think he's had 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick ain't impressive at all. I mean, for obviously like Justin Herbert standards. And then 144 yards and a touchdown. You feel me? Like, this is kind of what the competition is at quarterback in the AFC. It's funny because every time going into a season, man, it's like, oh my God, man, it's so much of this and that. You know what I'm saying? This is a good game. But then the season starts and it's like, it's not what anybody thought. So I guess, really Stroud and Josh Allen, the only two that had 2 good games. I mean, this is like he had a solid game against the Bears. No, he had a good game. Considering who they were playing, you know what I'm saying, you don't really got familiarity with the matchup. This is a good defense and stuff like that. So I'd say Stroud and Allen, the only 2 quarterbacks who've had like back-to-back good games so far this season. I'm talking about in the AFC. So before niggas start bringing up Baker and shit like that, or before niggas start bringing up Sam Darnold. But so I say, but the only thing with Josh Allen and the Bills, bro, like the Cardinals seem to be better than we all gave them credit for, which they probably gonna end up being. We probably gonna look up, and then it's always teams like that, man. The Saints, another team like that, where people just like, oh, they're gonna be 7 wins, 6 wins, 5 wins, and they turn out to be good. The Texans last year, it's like that every year. So I think the Cardinals might be another one of them teams that end up being way better than people gave them credit for. But as it stands right now, a Cardinals win on your resume has not been a reputable win in like the last 3 years. Along with that, beating the Dolphins, Josh Allen has a record of like 11-2 against the Dolphins. And like I literally just looked at the stats because I had watched this little first part and I looked up the stats, and yeah, he got a record of like 11-2 against the Dolphins, and then he has like what's his stats against the Dolphins? Spell stats wrong. Yeah, 3,500 yards, 34 touchdowns, 7 picks in 13 games against the Dolphins. If a quarterback through 13 games in the NFL season had this stat line, and then was 11-2, they would be the consensus MVP of the league. Like he's pretty much averaging an MVP season against the Miami Dolphins. So like that's the only thing that made me like skittish about the Bills. Cause and the Texans are pretty much almost exactly identical to that. Like they beat the division team who, they quarterback looked like hot garbage last week. Anthony Richardson looked horrible. And then they play the Bears, which again, for like the last 4 years, is an NFC team. Last 4 years, if you beat the Bears, that wasn't saying anything at all for like 4 years running now. Same with the Cardinals. Now, they got Caleb. Caleb been hot garbage, but according to everybody on TV, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So now they got their quarterback finally. And then they got a defense. And then they got running backs. Like, they got a great roster. You know what I'm saying? Now it might be reputable. You never know. So that's the Bills and the Texans, though. If not the Bills, then it's the Texans. Anybody other than them, they need to prove that they can get their shit together. That includes Baltimore, Cincinnati, whatever. All right, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because then they was talking about the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are in trouble with Isiah Pacheco on IR. You buy or sell?
I'm definitely buying it because Pacheco is a talented back, but it's the collection of all of their issues as far as weapons are concerned. They're out Hollywood Brown. It doesn't seem like Kelsey is what he used to be, and we thought you could lean on Pacheco, but right now it feels like it's just Rashee Rice.
And then, Jeff, let's go to Pittsburgh, where the Steelers...
Okay. Then, yeah, you buying or selling that the Chiefs are in trouble pretty much because Pacheco is on IR. I don't understand IR, man. Sometimes dudes be on IR and they quote-unquote gonna miss the first 4 weeks. Sometimes they be on IR and they gonna be out till like week 8. I feel like IR can be a death sentence for teams, obviously, depending on who it is. I don't think Pacheco's one of them players for the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs. I feel like it would have to be Travis Kelce. Like, I think Travis Kelce is probably the only player. If they still had Tyreek Hill, he would be one. But I think the way that the team is now, I think Travis Kelce is the only like non-Patrick Mahomes offensive player that I would feel that way about, or at least that way about the weapons. Maybe because they left tackle's a rookie, right? Ain't he a rookie or like in a second year player? Like he a super young dude. I know they hold like right side down is pretty much they guys, but yeah. And then as far as like Pacheco goes, I think Pacheco's good, but the passing attack between Mahomes, Rashee Rice, and Travis Kelce, I think is so good and reliable, and you know what I'm saying, that it's like teams will never not have to consider that, and so because teams always have to consider that, whatever running back they put back there is going to be able to feed off of that. As long as they are able, as long as you as a running back have the ability, the capability to make plays when you had an opportunity, then you'll be fine with the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you need Pacheco. You know what I'm saying? As good as he is, because he's really good. And I don't think the next guy that they put back there is going to be as good as him. You know what I'm saying? But I think they can get 4 yards of carry out of somebody. 4 yards of carry and, you know what I'm saying, like 3 catches a game out of somebody. I don't think it has to be this guy. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, so what is he saying? He said buy or sell that. I'm selling that. And then I'm buying the part about the Bills, though, for sure. I have to. Anybody literally has to. But, yeah, that's how I feel about that.